And you can preach Matthew 28:19 all you want.
Yeah.
You can preach missional strategy all you want. They will always emulate who you are and what you do. Not necessarily what you say. They will emulate and mirror what you do and how you do it.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Pastor Herb, because that's what the students call me. And welcome to Keys to Student Ministry. And tonight, I got my boy on here, Mr. Jonathan Slade. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, folks? What's up, fam?
Yes. So we're going to jump into this, man. It should be a good one, because tonight we're going to cover keys to outreach. How do you get new students in? Not that there's anything wrong with the ones that's coming up in your church that's joining the student ministry. Not that it's wrong with the kids who even have to be brought there by their parents. But outside of that, how do you get unchurched new students in? How do you do that? Why is it important? But before we jump into that, we have the key slang today. And that key slang is W.
West Side.
All right. What does W mean? It means win. Let me use it in a sentence. It says that concert was a major. So if you hear your students say, yo, hopefully they'll say this, man, yo, Pastor so that message was a W. If you ever hear them say that, number one, you win. But number two, that means it was really good. So if you ever heard that before, the party was a W, she's a W, whatever, that football team's a W, you know, what they mean is it's a win or it's a success. So you is the key slang. So that's all I have for y'all tonight. But we're going to jump into this keys to outreach. And again, I'm going to pass it to my good friend, Jonathan Slade, who is also an SUM alumni. Now, he did not go to SUM the years I went there, because I graduated in 2010. What year did you graduate?
Brother, I don't, 2000 and my degree at somewhere, 2012 or something, 2012, I want to say,
Okay.
I think.
Now, what campus were you? You
I was the New Orleans West Bank campus.
You were at the original campus.
I was at the original OG, the OG building with the leaky plumbing and old refrigerators and red carpet and nice.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Right next to the McDonald's.
Right, yep, right next to the McDonald's.
And the barber shop down the street from the, what is that? What is it?
I know, I don't remember the barber shop. I remember the McDonald's.
The corner store.
Yes. So, see, he's an alumni, but share with the people your experience in student ministry. What you got for us?
Man, first and foremost, thank you so much, Herb, man. I rock with Herb. Herb is one of the most humble people that I know, currently serving in youth ministry, not looking for an accolade or anything like that. He ain't going to say it about himself, but what draws me to friendship or fellowship with Herb is how he serves his wife and serves the ministry with the joy and the gladness, and comes home every night. He ain't out here in the streets running game.
No,
I don't rock with brothers and ministers that play with that. So I wouldn't be here without having good relationship with a brother and having a good report. So shout out to one of the legends. He is a youth legend. I know he got me on here. I don't feel like I have much to offer, but take what you can from me. But Herbert's a youth legend himself.
Appreciate you.
But yeah, I've got over 10 plus years in ministry. Got saved in youth ministry myself. Got discipled by my youth pastor. My wife got discipled and adopted by the same youth pastor. So we were both had the privilege of being discipled by our youth pastor. So youth ministry, I always say this. I'm a youth pastor at heart, always. I'm a current campus pastor of Reach Church Raytown in Kansas City, Missouri. So if you're ever in the area, check me out. Show some love. But yeah, I'm a youth pastor at heart. Always will be, man.
Man, look at that. That's crazy, man. And I just actually did an episode about discipleship. And so that's deep to you meet your wife and disciple by the same person.
Yeah.
Disciple her. So there you go, man. That's what's up. So listen, y'all, because a part of this is with outreach. When you bring them in, hopefully you get a chance to disciple them. But first you got to go get them. You got
That's
to
right.
go fishing.
Gotta
And
go.
so,
Yeah.
one thing with SUM is that we did do a lot of outreach,
Drilled into
a
us,
lot
stamped on us.
stamped. And and that's actually one of the cool things about it, that we weren't just going for knowledge. I feel like
That's
I'm
right.
doing a promo for SUM, but,
But we not actually. No, it was great, man. It really was. We did. We got Matthew 28:19, and being a
gotcha.
servant of all is stamped and sealed.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't forget it if I wanted to.
All right, Chancellor, no, cut that check. All right, so,
For y'all.
right, right, we just put that out there. But I was at the Oakland campus and in the heart of Sobrani Park, and now they're in Sacramento right now. Where I was, we were in the smack dab in the hood of Sobrani. It was one way in, one way out. And so outreach there was so critical to see all the students in that neighborhood come in and be a part of Points of Light, which was the youth ministry program that I was a part of, being on that campus. And that really showed me the keys to, why is it so important to go out and get them? Because most times, and I'm not, about to take your session, you about to give it, to us, but most times, people don't even know what they need until you tell them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they don't know they need Jesus. They're living in their situation for a while. That's all they know. And so here you come that look like them, and sometimes for the most part act like them, and their culture. And even if you don't, you're genuinely going out there and caring for them.
That's
and,
right.
It's definitely something to see in this, and so can obviously, we've been commissioned by the Lord to go
That's
out,
right.
make disciples. So let's jump into this episode, because a lot of people think again that youth ministry is a glorified babysitting service.
No, it is not.
It's definitely not, and they think that though we do possibly provide date nights for parents,
Mom and dad.
or get them out of the house,
Yeah.
but it's much more than that. And we definitely walking through their spiritual journey with the Lord and getting them
That's
connected.
right.
But
That's right.
first
True
things first,
shepherding.
though. Yeah,
That's right.
we gotta meet them.
That's
We
right.
gotta go out and meet them. So just kind of run down, man, why for you, why is outreach such a passion of yours? Because we had a conversation, and I feel like outreach is what you do. So
Yeah.
kind of speak to the people on there.
Yeah, man. I'm fired up. I get fired up about outreach in any context, any age group, and specifically with especially with youth ministry, because I'm a product of outreach. I am. I did grow up in church when I was younger. My mom was one of those old black praying church. We gonna be in the church, boy, whenever them doors open. But I enjoyed it. I don't have that type of story to where I did not like. I enjoyed my church. I still remember many Bible teachings and songs and hymns with the old church crackers down there. My old, down there in the
Yeah.
church crackers and snacks is what I'm. But but yeah, man, I don't have that type of story where I did kind of stray away a little bit as I got older, where my mom kind of freed up and let me, as in middle school, kind of be free a little bit. The
Yeah.
youth ministry was going a bit stale, and I think she noticed that I wasn't interested no more, so she kind of felt bad, felt guilty, didn't want to kind of drive me there anymore, and was like, hey, got a little bit older to make my own decision to make some friends, and that's where it kind of went left. And I didn't want to go to youth ministry no more. I got a taste of the world, and it was like, man,
That was it.
this what my mama saying is bad? Ain't no way.
Feels so
Ain't no
good.
way. It feels so good. There's W's out here.
And I don't have to go to church.
I ain't gotta go to church. You know what I'm saying? But once I got a taste of that, man, through the influence of friends, man, it was all down here from there, man. All types of horrible lifestyle. Just trying to seek affirmation and just being a sinner for whatever cultural way you were raised. It doesn't matter. We are all sinners, and I was in that. I am a sinner saved by grace, and so I'm a product of outreach in a sense where when I got to high school. So I'm gonna piggyback off this, continue with this story, so I'm fired up about it. Pastor Juan was a youth pastor in New Jersey after they moved from Houston, Texas, and his big thing was outreach. Like, I'm extremely grateful, and that's gonna be one of my points about being a person with the stamp and the seal
Yeah.
of outreach. Like that's all we know because I got raised and discipled through that. And how you get them is how you keep them, and how you keep them is how how you get them is what I would
Mm.
like to keep that on.
You said how you
He
get them is how you
how
keep
you
them, and
keep
how you
them,
keep them is how you
is
get
how
them.
you get them.
Wow. There you go.
And so, man, I he was now, mind you, I'm from Patterson, New Jersey. Okay, I people don't know what Patterson, New Jersey. I usually reference Fetty Wap. 1738. That's Patterson, New Jersey.
Okay.
Or for the older folks, the younger folks know Fetty Wap, but the older folks they don't know. And so I'll be like, well, you ever seen Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman? They're like, Eastside High School. Yes, that is the
That's
other.
Jersey.
That's Patterson, New Jersey. That is our
Mm.
rival from Kennedy Knights. That's our rival school. That's down the hill. Kennedy's up the hill. Still,
Man, I
we're
thought that was a
still,
made up school.
you know, Eastside High School is a very real school that my oldest sister actually attended that school. And fun fact about that, she actually attended high school with Method Man. So yeah,
There you go.
so that's my oldest sister. So, but I went to John F. Kennedy High School. So my mother said, I'm not going to let you go to that bad school. I'm going to let you go to the other bad school. It was still one of the worst schools in the USA in John F. Kennedy High School. Now, mind you, keep that in mind. Now, Pastor Juan gets the bright idea with a heart full of
Mm.
zeal to come to this high school. And back in the day, right, they would have like party flyers. I don't know. They don't do
Mm.
that no more. Like I see them similar, like the graphics will be similar, like on Instagram, where it'd be like a party, like come to this party, and then they got the table, whatever, the girls, stuff with the
Mm.
the flyer looks just like how we used to do it in the back in the
That's
2000s.
one. They up in the
But they
club
would make
together.
them but the flyer with all types of colors and
Yeah,
pictures in
yeah.
the back, and it'd be like house parties, right? And there was this flyer like about this,
Mm.
yay big, 4x4 or 2 by whatever that size is. But man, he had these flyers made, and it had like party, basketball, food, and something like that. But it looked just like the house party. So he's handing them out, and he's this big dude. You can't miss him. Big old Hispanic cat in the front of
Mm-hmm.
school, and handing them out just like the party dudes was on a Friday night.
Mm.
So I'm getting his flyer, thinking it's a party flyer.
You thought you was going to a party.
And I thought, well, I thought I loved God at that moment still. I still had a reverence for God, but not in my heart, not my heart transformed. But man, it was like, this is not like the bad parties that the homies go to.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother will probably let me go to this party. This is less bad. It ain't got no girls half naked on there. It ain't got no liquor bottles on there. Oh, so I could probably go to this party. I'm in my mind, this is a party I'm going to.
Mm.
Bro, I pull up in this at church, bro, with a big old basketball.
He was let down. Like, what is
And
this?
so, man, I go in, but it had a basketball gym, and that's what drew me in. That's what drew me in, man. I hooped like it was nobody business. But I remember connecting with Pastor Warner. He was so cool, down to cracking jokes, down to earth. Like, what's up, man? Just like, what type of, I don't know you, Pastor. The church I went to was an old fashioned old church,
Mm-hmm.
suits and ties. This dude was wearing a t-shirt, some jeans, and some Nikes, and I was like,
Gosh. Wow.
he can't be no pastor. Doesn't can't be this cool. And the dude was just cool. The dude was so cool. The biggest takeaway and the testimony that I share is that he went out his way because my mother, we used to have an old school Mercury brown beat up vehicle, and my mother like couldn't drive all the way out. It was like 30 minutes out. My mother cannot
Mm.
drive. The car was not
You wasn't
sufficient to
gonna make
make
it
that
30
drive out
minutes?
there. Wasn't gonna make it. No, sir. We had the car.
Wow.
We had the old school car where you had to stick your foot out to stop the car. We had to stick your foot out to break the vehicle, man. And so, and I remember telling him, because he was like, man, you got to come out. How you going to come? And I was like, man, I can't. My mother can't drive. He was like, I'll pick you up and drop
Mm.
you off. And I was like, man, he lying. He lying. Ain't no way
Mm-hmm.
he going to pick me up and drop me off. First off, my neighborhood is dangerous. Now, this was back in the day where they used to say, don't stop at the red lights. Don't stop at the stop signs and don't stop at the red lights because you got carjacked. This is a
Mm.
true story. I would literally see people carjacked at the red lights. And so I told him that, like, thinking like, I'm not going to come back really. Like, I'm not going to come hoop with you. Cool. But I'm not going to come back unless you come get me. But I know he ain't going to come get me because you might be scared. And I tried to scare him off.
Mm.
And this dude, for sure, showed up to pick me up.
Mm.
No gas money, no nothing. And that spoke to me more than anything. And I continued to go because he continued to show up. I don't remember many sermons from him.
See.
I remember him talking about Jesus. I remember him talking about make Jesus famous. I don't remember many sermons. They were good, great, glorifying, God glorifying sermons. Always talk about salvation. Always had an altar
Mm-hmm.
call. And he always would do these human videos, these funny human videos. He would have me in. That what spoke to me is that this man, this was like the first man in my life, really, because I didn't have a relationship with my father, my biological father. He was nowhere to be found, out in the street. Didn't take any ownership of me. That he didn't want anything in return, but came out his way to put himself through that, drive out the way. And I noticed that driving back and forth to pick me up just to have a good time, just to be a knucklehead in his youth group. Really, I was a knucklehead. I was the hood kid trying to talk to all the shorties in the youth group.
Yes,
I was the cool kid, and I was thinking like, yo, this dude shows up like time in and time out. And so why am I burned for outreach is because I'm a product of outreach. I'm a product of outreach. Jonathan was out there, and to think back then that he was just out there with a heart for the Lord, for a heart to just say, Lord, I don't know who should, but I know you sent me here. I know you sent me.
Mm-hmm.
And to meet me from a flyer, God's being sovereign over all of that. To me now being faithfully married to my wife of 12 years, 4 kids, faithfully married, faithfully serving in ministry, bachelor's degree, seminary, and living this life of gospel dignity. That was not in the cards for my life. I wanted to play football. I wanted to go to the NFL. I wanted to be a UFC fighter. When that didn't work out, when I got injured, I didn't have no type of plans for that. Fireworks went off because that's the Holy Spirit. That's the Shonda. That was the Shonda.
I'm like, why did fireworks
The
go
Holy
off?
Spirit fell on that one. That was the Holy Spirit. That's the testimony.
Right at the climax.
That was it right there.
Okay. All right.
Another W in the game.
Another W. There you go.
But man, to think that somebody came, that God sent, like it continued, almost about to break out tears already. God sent this flawed Mexican large man and used a dumb party flyer. He picked up on that to get me. To get me. Nobody was trying to drive into Patterson, New Jersey. If you would have asked if any of those kids going to be pastors, they'd be looking at you like, yo, are you crazy? You might have some ball players. You might have some football players. You might have some Bloods or some Crips. But a pastor? You a pastor from there? So that's why I'm fired up, because you never know who's there. You never know who's out there. You never know what God can do with these kids out there. You don't know who the next Billy Graham is, who the next Nikki Cruz is, who the next, you don't know, man. But you gotta go. God is sending you. You gotta go, man. You don't know who's there. So I can't shake that. That's what convicts me. I don't know who's out there, but I'm going to keep on outreaching. I don't know what, God, I know you can use everything from this. I know you can use everything from a hot dog to a book bag, to a snow cone, to a bounce house, to a water slide, whatever you give out. God can use everything. God wants to use you. Let's get that in your head, that we're called to go, Matthew 28:19, but God wants to use you and use the resources that he's equipped you with to go get another brother, another sister out there who's called and elected to his glory.
Man, well, that's the end of the podcast, y'all. No, but that's so real. And as we're, talking about, doing that in youth ministry, so many that's okay with just the attendance that they have. And, because the students are coming in and the parents are bringing them, and you may be in a well-to-do area to where you can stop at a stoplight, or their parents can bring them to church. But, even breaking past that barrier of, okay, their parents got them, like, there's other things that you can do. We'll get into that a little bit later, because this is a podcast where we're going from whatever, inner city, the rural area, the affluent, it doesn't matter, because outreach is still outreach.
Absolutely.
But I feel you on that, because when I was doing youth ministry when I was in Oakland, and this is outside of Points of Light, that your car was the pickup. I had a Dodge Durango, and if anybody's familiar with Oakland, I'll pick them up, some of the students up in West Oakland, right?
Yeah.
And then drive all the way to East Oakland. So that's about like 30, 35 minutes. then Bible study's done, driving them all the way back. And then I have to then drive from West Oakland and then drive to Hayward. So I'm passing up Oakland and going another 15, 20 minutes further out. And it's something that's key that you touched on, is that you kept coming, because he kept coming. He kept showing up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It didn't matter. What, they shooting you over there? Okay, cool. I'll come get you.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. And did anybody jack you out the stoplight?
No.
Nope. So he just kept coming. So, you know, and another key thing that you just pointed out is like, you don't remember a sermon, but you do remember him being there, showing up.
Yeah,
cool,
every single time.
Going to grab you, and saying whatever it is, hot dog, pizza night, whatever that is. You remember him showing up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just to have a good time, just to eat his food, have a good time.
Yep.
Not even come to confess sin or continually to come down to the altar, feeling emotionally guilty, but not really get saved.
Right.
Eat his food, you know what I'm saying? Mess with Crystal, his wife, because Miss Crystal would always like, stay out the kitchen.
Stay out of the kitchen.
And they actually got in big trouble for that. I actually got them in big trouble by playing in the kitchen. That's actually a funny story. But I was the problem.
At the
I
church
was the problem
kitchen?
youth. Bro, yeah. I was causing issues in the church kitchen, bro. I'm telling you, dude. I was that bad youth kid.
Mm-hmm.
But you just never know you just never know, man. And so I'm just so thankful. So I'm fired up about outreach, man. I am, man. I can go all night, all day on why it's important.
Yeah. So let's hit on that. You know, I think one thing you hit on is like, you don't know who's out there.
You don't.
You know, but what happens then if you do rely on just the numbers to come, just for kids to be raised and ultimately end up in youth ministry? What happens when you really don't outreach and you just rely on the numbers that's already there?
Well, for one, how did your youth ministry currently, and this is going to go to a point that I'm going to make, how is your youth group thriving with being missional? That would be my question. How are you being missional? One, you're probably going to grow stagnant at some point in time. 2, 3, what the bigger question is, what's your end goal? Like, what do you want out of this? Do you just want to grow to be a youth group of 100 and then you good? You get your little Insta going, you get your reels popping, you get your Nikes, you got your J's on, you good. You know, you getting a couple hundred and you good. What's the goal? Where's the mission?
Right.
You know, would be the bigger question is what's your aim? And that is a problem. And so what we're seeing right now, and I love Ed Stetzer. Ed Stetzer has great numbers next to the Georgia Barna group study, who studies not only decaying small churches in inner or rural or suburban context, but he's been keen on studying church dynamics and study of flows with rural, suburban, and urban core churches who have great, lack of better terms, attendance, and saying that a church's health is not dependent on your size. A church's health is how you are sending, shepherding, and discipling your students and or congregation. That's the big, and what he's finding out is that bigger churches with a lot of resources, most wealthy, well-off, or kids who are homeschooled are actually in a slow, he calls it a slow drip, like, you know, the drip on a sink. Not necessarily that's the fountain, but it's a slow drip to declining. So that church within the next 50 years will begin to decline. Why? Because what he's saying is a dying church. Listen, a dying church is not a small church. This is because it's a small church doesn't mean it's dying. Just because it's a big church doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy. What he's measuring is he's measuring community effectiveness, which goes back to being gospel oriented and being missional. What the churches that are being missional and gospel oriented on the go and fostering that and discipling people are the ones who are having true lost, like conversions, because what he's studying is baptisms. So what's happening is large churches are not having high membership on the papers, 1,500, 1,000, but low new converts and extremely low baptisms. That's actually been on the rise. That's been a study, that etc. So if you ever get some time, man, I got some research or holler at me with some numbers, factual numbers that back this up. So this is an issue. You can't just, so this, I believe that God is saying, yo, no more coasting,
Mm-hmm.
no more coasting, no more
Wow.
comfortability, no more resting in our simulation plan, no more resting in your cool youth group and resting on how cool your Instagram is popping off and how much your kids love your merch. Yo, your merch is awesome. Your merch is dope. When I see where's the new converts, that number, right? This is where
Mm-hmm.
numbers matter. Like, numbers matter in this regard. New converts, that means people who are lost, don't know Christ, and coming to know Jesus Christ. And
Mm.
now disciple. Now that's another number. And then baptism. What's that rate?
Wow. Wow, man. That is huge. Because again, it's so easy to be in a comfortable context
Yes.
to where the numbers are there. Maybe you got 100 students. Depending on your context, you got 35 to 40. They
Yeah.
all like you. They like what's going
Yeah.
on. But guess what? They start to graduate,
They
right?
do.
They
Yes.
start to graduate.
Yep.
They going off to college, and
Yeah.
then your youth group begin to look smaller because not only are they graduating, but they're not coming back. They're
That's
not
right.
coming back to help serve.
That's right.
They not mentioned. They didn't invite nobody else. That's pretty crazy when you look at that. And
Absolutely.
we start to coast,
Yeah.
and we forsake the mission. And like you said, we start to get
Yeah.
impressed with the Instagram
Oh
numbers,
yeah.
with the merch, yard sales, whatever else you're doing,
Or kids miss
nice
coming.
events.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like that. They like those.
Oh
But
yeah.
like you said, just because it's big numbers doesn't mean there's health there either. So one thing I did notice is that when you are missional, your students begin to pick that up too.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah. Yeah. They pick that up and then they begin to invite friends, and actually, it brings joy to them to bring somebody in, and don't let some of their friends stay because they brought them.
yeah.
Then it's like, what? Like, this really happens? Like, I never thought this kid would come to church.
There it goes. There it
Man.
goes.
Yeah.
There it goes. Because they'll, no matter, and you can preach Matthew 28:19 all you
Yeah.
want. You can preach missional strategy all you want. They will always emulate who you are and what you do.
Mm.
Not necessarily what you say. They will emulate and mirror what you do and how you do it. So now that's a whole nother aspect
Mm.
of youth ministry, talking about the transition period.
Mm-hmm.
Because are you just banking on that new family that came in on Sunday and they homeschool and they babies is 5 years old? You banking on that for outreach?
Yep. There it is. Like, you in third grade now? Okay,
You in third?
cool.
Oh yes, here we
3
go.
more years, you're gonna be right
3
up.
more, right over here. Come on, that's your assimilation plan. And again, and I'm not knocking that. That stuff is great. New families coming in to
Yes.
disciple believers, and that's phenomenal. But Herbert, you just touched on something that's monumental. Is when that kid graduates,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be the real tester as a youth pastor is not your numbers and how they are when they with you. It's how they
Mm-hmm.
are when they go. When
Yep.
they're out of your when they come from under your shepherding and they now get older or they transition, what is their lifestyle like now after their time with
Mm.
you? Are they in relationship with Jesus Christ? Not that you control it, but that you foster that. Are they discipling? Are
Mm.
they missional? Are they comfortable sharing their faith? Do they
Mm.
know how to share their faith? Let's just take it another one, because now we know that universities are going very liberal, and we see
Mm-hmm.
that gender is now a question.
Mm-hmm.
In all these things in our country are a question. Do they know why, and do they understand what they believe and why they believe it? Can they
Mm.
articulate their testimony?
Mm.
And so now that brings into a number of things into question, a number of things. And if the youth pastor is not careful, you will grow stagnant and comfortable in the resource and whatever context, whether you're rural, whether you're inner city, whether you're suburban. The fear, the struggle is that you grow comfortable. And
Yeah.
when you get that first 50, that's like almost like a test.
Yep.
How are you acting with that first 50 kids?
Mm.
You have you now thought you arrived?
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Wow,
So,
man. So I used to always ask myself, like, what is the trophy for
right,
ministry? You know, you playing basketball and you win a trophy, like there's an end goal, but what is the
right,
goal in ministry? And for me, I've been thinking that the trophy for me is that one day that one of those students will be the pastor now
right.
for
That's right. That's
that.
great.
And I think again from discipleship and then outreach is like they were a product, like you were
That's
saying,
right.
of the discipleship, of the outreach, of, you know, the pastor constantly showing up. And I don't know if you ever had this experience, but being able to go over the pastor's house, obviously with the parents'
That's right.
permission,
Yeah.
but going over the, you know, youth pastor's house and
Yeah.
kicking on their
Yeah.
couch, you know,
That's
hanging
dope,
with
man.
their kids,
That's life.
then it's like when they leave, it's like, man, you know, I remember when, and I want to do this. Either I'm going to take over that and I want to continue that, or wherever I go, and like you
Hmm.
said, like I want to share my testimony. I want to live right. I want to have a, you know, godly relationship. And, you know, not every time you get a chance to see that fruit, but
Yeah.
like just recently, I had a chance to talk with one young lady that came to the youth group, and she was just asking me questions like, how do I know if I'm unequally yoked? Like, you're in college
Yeah.
right now. Like you're
Right.
like you're asking me,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
are you unequally yoked? Like, wow,
Right.
that's crazy. Like, you want to call
Right.
back and you want to talk because you actually want a godly relationship.
Right.
Like, wow, like, man, I
Yeah.
just thank God for that, because it's like you hope
That's great.
is going
That's what you
to.
want. That's the fruit.
Right.
That's the fruit.
Absolutely.
That's the fruit.
Absolutely. And that's the issue with becoming comfortable, because when we
Yeah.
do, it's like, oh, we good. You know, we got the events,
Yeah.
we got activity, we got
Yeah.
connections, and they love it. But at the same time, like, did they develop like a godly life in there? That's why I
Right.
said a lot of people think we're glorified babysitters, but no, like
Yeah.
this
No.
real
We
spiritual
are under truly
transformation.
shepherds. You are a true
Yeah.
shepherd. Regardless of what your senior, and let's be real, your senior pastor may not like you. They may look your let's just be real. Your
Mm-hmm.
staff may look at you like that. They may look at you like, yo, take care of these kids while we got adult Bible study. Take these youth. They may.
Yep. You may
It
be in that
doesn't
situation where that's.
matter. You may, I don't know what your context is. You are God's man for this season. You are. You are God's man who he's sending. So the question is not how you get them or when you get them. The question is, yo, what are you doing with them?
Mm-hmm.
What's your time look like with them? Are you just having pizza and y'all had a good time?
Mm.
But what was that time when you ate pizza together that you had them? When they
Absolutely.
came over your house and played the PS5 with you, what you talk about? What's
Mm.
the questions that you ask?
Mm.
And these are hard things that you can have. Even the youth pastor I've learned is in such a hard pressing, either he is pressed to produce, and let's just be real, either he's pressed to produce a outrageous number of kids by the end of the year,
Mm.
or he's on the other end of the spectrum where he's really not looked at like a shepherd
Right.
amongst the staff or pastoral care. And so he can coast. There's
Mm-hmm.
danger in both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
The danger's in both. And so you have to ask yourself some questions. You have to get with an older mentor who has some ministry, not just ministry expertise, not just the ministry expert where the reels are popping off and they got 500 youth ministry.
Yeah.
I'm talking about some real cats who had to grind, who's
Mm.
got some real fruit in the ministry like that. Students coming back and asking questions. Students coming back saying, "Hey, yo, what's that Bible you reference?
Mm-hmm.
What you mean? What Bible I reference? What's that? What's that scripture you reference? You know, what's that book that you reference about
Mm-hmm.
the love languages? You mean the love series I did 2 years ago? Yeah, 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 yeah. That Pastor J. Yeah, yeah, that. Yeah, I remember you preached on that. Yo, you remember that from 2 years ago? Oh, this is real. You
Mm-hmm.
remember that from 2 years ago? Yeah, you want that book? Yeah, the five love languages. Yeah, let me get that. I got a friend that's having trouble with a relationship, and I want
Mm.
to teach her. That's the fruit you want.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, from 2 years ago, they
Two
was
years ago.
listening. That's the fruit. That's going to be able to tell the real litmus test, the real, how do you say, like the fire that the
Mm-hmm.
Lord is going to, like, those are the things, like the things that your ministry,
Mm.
everything, when we die in gold to stand before him, before the Bema seat as believers, as leaders, And remember, we're going to get judged more harshly. Everything that we have done will have to pass through the holy fire of God. If only everything done in his name to lift him up, everything done in spirit and in truth will only go by. It will pass through. Looking at your ministry, what's going to pass through the fire? What's going to make it?
Yeah.
Your merch is not going to make it through the fire, homeboy. Your merch, your Instagram reel, your dunks ain't going to make it. The number of your youth group ain't going. True disciples are going to make it through. What's your true disciples? And if you are not a person of outreach. And I'm not talking about having interest nights with pizza and burgers. And I'm not ranking on that. That stuff is dope. I love it. Keep on doing it. Serving, outreach teaches your kids to be humble. Outreach teaches your kids, listen, the ultimate goal of outreach teaches your youth, your students, that it's not about you. It's not all about you. It's not about comfortability. Outreach will expose things in your students that you need to see that God, again, has called you to discern and walk them through and disciple them through. Serving has kept our students hungry. Serving has led students, those homeschool students or those students that the student that give you a problem, that they come because their mama tell them to be there and they let you know that their mama told them to be there and they giving you attitude, or they coming in with their boyfriend and they holding hands when you separate. I don't even know if they do that no more.
No, they do that still.
They do that still?
They try to sneak in, like they come in with it.
I see, what separating? They used to separate us. I don't see that no more.
No, we gonna separate. The
real OGs remember the separating days.
Yeah,
boys
like,
on one side, girls
need some room
on the
for
other.
Jesus. Let's go.
But man, they holding hands in between. They holding hands in between when you separate them. Yo, we had. Listen, I might start crying. I ain't gonna say her name, but we just in this past year, we baptized a girl that was in our youth ministry from 3 years ago. But she didn't want nothing to do with the guy. She was really a spoiled brat. Her family had money, and she let us know that her family had money, and she was pretty, and she let everybody know that, and was constantly on the boy's head, and it was a problem. And me and Lisa would used to get so far, but we know what we kept in mind, the eternal perspective. Yo, we don't know who she can be.
Yeah,
we're not gonna just be dealing with her on this level, what she is right now. We're going to be speaking to the future student, because we know we come from that. That don't hurt. The bad kids in the youth ministry fire me up. They do. They fire me up. I get excited because I go, oh, yes, let God get a hold of this one. Yes, because they got influence. You know, and
them be the ones too.
Those be the ones that
and those be the
ones
speaking up for you. Once they get in there, it's like y'all coming to church, man. Like, no, we about to do
and they
like
don't want
they
to do
got
outreach.
it.
And they don't want to do outreach. The minute that you're going to try to go, you might be fired up after this. Like, man, I'm going to go teach my kids how we going to do hot dog outreach. Bro, you could do different outreach many thousand ways. They're going to be the ones that you need to have hope for. I don't want to do that. Why I got to talk? I don't like talking to people. You're going to deal with this. You're going to have parents telling you they don't want their kids dealing with it. I've been there.
Yeah.
But listen to me, man. What we just baptized this girl who want nothing to do because she saw us do outreach. She saw how much of the love of God will push somebody to share Jesus Christ in the weakness and in the limited resources that we had. Our budget was like $500. Like we had
and some of y'all might have zero budget. You might
have zero. It don't matter. You still can do something.
Bubble gum. That's what you got.
But man, she got saved from that.
Wow.
She got saved from what God used was God using her in her attitude at outreach. She got fired up about talking to kids and handing out snow cones. She got fired up about that. And then the parents got fired up about it because the parents was like, oh my God, we had such a hard time with her. My God, she just doesn't want to do anything. She just doesn't care about God. She doesn't care about certain. And the parents came to see God work in through their daughter.
Wow.
And she had a form of Christ, but Christ wasn't in there. It wasn't in there. Dude, outreach teaches your kids. It makes them, it keeps bringing back the why. It keeps bringing back the why. It keeps that passion fresh. It keeps that testimony fresh. We're saved by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Dog, you are missing out if you're not doing it. And I don't care what your theology, I don't care if you reform or Calvinist, and bro, it doesn't, you are missing out on the true spiritual fruit and nature, the characteristic of God, the attributes of what God can do when you just say, yes, Lord, send me, and send you and your students, dog.
Man.
You're missing out, man.
Man, I'm telling you, and it's nothing like bringing your students along like that. You know,
bro,
like,
it's
okay,
a beautiful thing.
You can do it on your own, but it's like, but
no,
that's not what Jesus like.
Push yourself.
Come with me. You know
Push
what I mean?
yourself.
Like,
push through that attitude.
Let's meet. And then what you'll see, like you're saying, is like they like this, like it's like they get encouraged, like
they do
to see God moving. Like, what? I did that. Like, I said that to that kid, or that kid,
and they can't believe it. They couldn't believe it. And that was let's just be real. Jesus had this issue with his disciples many times. They were young. Go back and look. They were young. Peter, James, they were all young. They did not believe. Jesus, what you talking about? What you talking? Go feed.
Go feed them.
Feed all these folks? Well, what food? These baskets. What you talking about? What you mean?
And then they seen him work.
And then they seen him. My God, they seen him work, dude. They seen him work. And now they got all these accounts, even in their own personal, dog, it keeps your personal spiritual life fresh and new. Because in times of discouragement, man, I can go to a journal. I can go back to one of my prayer journals where he answered prayer. And I can see, like, yo, God, you did that. Back in 2012 when we did that outreach, yo, so-and-so still here from that outreach. And that was a wash. That was not a W. We ain't even had that many people come through to the outreach. But dog, so-and-so was still there. So-and-so family came because of that. So-and-so getting baptized because of that. Dog, because of that outreach, because of obedience. It's not about the resource. It's not about what you're doing or where you're going. It's about obedience in his name.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because so many times we think certain outreaches are washed. That many people didn't show up. You put on these big events and you saw like 10 people walk through. You know, you got this Christian rapper in, and like
you blew your whole budget.
Your whole budget, and 5 people in front of the stage going like this, and 2 of them people are his parents and stuff.
Talk about it.
But that one person that was there that saw it, again, the eternal perspective. You know what I'm saying? That means so much more to the kingdom. That one person came to the Lord, and then you look back like, okay, that was well worth it. Like, I'll tell you this one testimony, right? So we have a student planning committee, right, where we have the students plan the events, right? And these are the fun events, but I always encourage to tell them, like, you bringing people together. You're bringing people in that otherwise wouldn't come to church. They'll be coming to a party, right? And then they get a chance to meet you. They get a chance to meet them. They get a chance to meet your pastor. They get a chance to be around some Christian folks, and they begin to stay. So that happened. That I went to, I volunteer out of school. They have an FCA program there. And I just saw a kid with a camera. I was like, hey, would you mind coming to take pictures at our event, right? The students planned it, but the numbers weren't that great. But what I did share with them is like the kid that, you know, that I invited, the one that you sat next to and embraced them and all that. Like, he had an awesome time. He edited the photos, got it right back to us the same night. When I left that event, pulled up at home, he shot it to us just right there. He said he wants to come back now, you know, and the thing is, like, it was a wash, right? You thought, because all your friends didn't show up. But this one kid that came in just to take pictures, but he participated in everything. He's like, I want to come back. I want to be a part of this. And you can't discount those small numbers. Like you said, like, it'd be a big event, but then, like what you said, what did you do as you were eating pizza? What did you do?
Yeah. What you do at that time?
Playing games, PS5. Like, if you said nothing to them and y'all just play games and they'll just come like the YMCA,
that's a wash.
That's a L. That's a wash. That's an L right there.
That's a wash.
That's an L. You know what I'm saying? But in that time, you talking about that. Now they talking about their relationship with their parents. Now they talking about they've been thinking about going to church, or been thinking about God. Like, now it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? This kid now, like you said, saw church one way, right? Suits, ties, you know, usher with the white gloves, put your gum right here, to a Pastor Juan just wearing a t-shirt, jeans, got a basketball court, probably had some
Come
Christian
on.
hip hop playing. It's like,
Come on.
this is church? Like
This, yeah,
I'm me in
yeah.
this context?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Brings them in. So you can't discount that, man. You also can't discount, you know, what that means
Yeah.
eternally. To
Yeah.
when now you show up, now there's crowns of jewels in your, you know, jewels in your crown. They're like, okay, I can't remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
remember that dude that was in Jersey? Yeah,
Yeah.
remember that one you thought wasn't paying attention in class? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. And so you can't discount that stuff. So
You cannot. You can't
man,
be discouraged. You can't let that stuff
right,
discourage you.
right, you
Even
can't,
if the pastoral staff gave you the one shot, they gave
right,
you that one shot, and they gave you the budget to go get whatever artist, or what up RG or whoever, and then 5 kids showed up, and then now that your one shot is, you all discouraged. You all like,
mm,
man, God, where were you? Hey, man, hey, don't do that. Don't
mm-hmm,
do that. You're not. You. We are not people of the physical realm.
yeah, absolutely,
We wrestle
absolutely,
not against flesh and blood, but against
yeah,
principalities and the spiritual. Our
mm,
weapons are not of this world, but they're spiritual.
mm,
You got to stay encouraged with the eternal. You got to store up your treasure in heaven, not store
mm,
up your budget in heaven, not
mm-hmm,
store up your skills. Oftentimes, as youth pastors, we love to pick the one thing that we do good, and we
mm,
love to make that the coolest thing of our youth ministry. But could it be that if we're not doing outreach, that we could be our own hindrance in our own ministry?
mm,
Let God use your students. Let God use your
absolutely,
students, bro. Don't just
mm,
don't give him your merch. Don't give him your reel. And I know I keep harping on that. Don't give him the cool shoes. Don't give him the cool preaching segment that you done got off the internet preacher or podcast that you sermon jack.
mm,
Whatever. Hey, listen, let God use your weaknesses. Let God use your weaknesses, man. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7 has been constantly on my heart. It's just been like in my brain. For we have this jars of clay. What treasure? We have this treasure in jars of clay
mm-hmm,
to show that the ever surpassing power or greatness, your translation may say, belongs to the Lord and not to us.
mm-hmm,
Not to us. The treasure is in the jar. It ain't on the outside, dog.
mm,
It ain't on the outside. Stop trying to, sometimes we spend more time on what our fit is going to be for the night
mm-hmm,
than the content of what's going on in our heart. Are we getting the thus saith the Lord word
mm,
to these students? Are you shepherding? Are
mm-hmm,
you ready for that new student that comes in
mm-hmm,
that's kept contemplating suicide on the inside, but on the outside, he loving
mm,
your merch and he buying everything and he playing your minute to win it games.
mm,
On the outside, he doing all the things that you want as a youth pastor, but on the inside, he's dying. Yo, did the gospel get to that kid, yo?
mm.
Are you believing that the gospel can change anyone at any given time? At any given time, again, because it ain't about you, it's about the treasure.
Man, see, yeah, that's what it's about, man.
That's what
That's
it's
what it's
about.
about.
Let God use your students. Don't be selfish. Don't be
That's
selfish.
it. Don't be selfish.
Don't be
Take
selfish.
your eyes off yourself.
Take it
Just
off
get in
yourself.
there.
Take it off your comfortability. Take it off the pastoral staff telling you can't do this, can't do that. Stop it. Treat your call like holy ground. He
Mm,
says that to Moses. Moses thought he was popping up on any bush, but God consumed that bush. He thought he could step to that bush just like every other bush. No, that bush was consumed,
mm,
but it wasn't burned up. And
mm-hmm,
the Lord said, before he changed his life, yo, take off them shoes. For the ground you
mm,
step on is holy ground.
mm,
Dog, you worrying about your sneakers and your shoes, and that's not going to suffice on his ground. That's not what he's worrying about for calling you out.
mm,
Man, he wants the full picture of that gospel, of what the gospel can do, is fully consume you. Let God fully consume you. And man, that's the best thing for your students, bro. Are you on fire for the Lord? Not you on fire because your group got to 50 or to 100. Not because these kids like anything, or because their mama brought, dog. Man, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, just let the Lord fire you up. Be excited about outreach.
man.
Be excited about discipleship. Be excited about shepherding these kids, bro. Be excited about what they can be, not what they look like right now.
Mm-hmm, absolutely,
Even the good
absolutely.
ones, even the ones that rock with you.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
man. So
yeah.
now, unfortunately, we got to wrap this up. But what can you give to someone that, they're hearing this, like, man, I need to get out there,
Yeah,
don't
bro.
know where to start. What could
Yeah.
be like just the first step for them to get this ball rolling?
Yeah. Man, it happens in prayer first. That's always, I know it may sound like a cliche, brother, but you got to pray it up and pray and really hone in on what you're praying. Don't just pray because you got to pray and because we know it's the spiritual thing. What are you praying for? So as you are planning to do this practical thing for outreach, are you having God's wonder in mind every single time you pray? God, so if you feel like that's a weakness, God, help, help open my mind, help me grow in this spiritual area of faith, because it is a faith issue, right? Your faith needs to grow that God can save that little thug boy that's out there stealing cars, or the Kia boys. He can save the Kia boys. He can save that kid in the rural context right now that's picking up mom and dad's meth pen or vape pen. He can save that kid in the suburban and that's homeschooled in the suburban context. And he got all the money. He got all the game systems in his house. He really don't lack anything, but he's like in spirituality. Are you filled with wonder that God can do something with each kid in any context? Pray for that specifically in your heart for God to do anything. 2, man, do the practical thing of just get something on just try things, man.
Just try.
Don't look up what the next man doing. Don't worry about that church down the street that's popping and they doing, bro, that might not work for you. God may not have called you to that. But man, here's something practically what you can do. Whether you have money or not, you can make a relationship with the local school. That's one thing you do. I'm gonna give you, I guess, a few.
That's it.
You can make a relationship with the local school. Don't care how far away it is, because what's worth it at the end of the day? Is it worth it to you to make that drive back and forth, to invest in gas? Make a relationship with that school. And if you need some further details on that, I actually worked in a public school system, and you can actually have a student-led group. Listen, you can legally the school and have a Christ-centered student-led group in that public school. That's number one. Make a relationship some way, somehow. Go serve, go give a donut, make a relationship. We could do that. Do something, show up and serve. Go look up their school calendar, go to a football game and just serve. Figure out where you can help. Hey, coach, can I help with the students? Make a relationship with the closest public school that you have.
Don't let money be an issue, because you can do a lot of free stuff.
A lot of free. Yeah, that's not an issue. Stop that. Get that out your head. Don't let that discourage you. Stop. Because sometimes a big budget could leave you stagnant. A big budget can leave you really stagnant. You can get comfortable on a big budget all day, and you have 0 new converts or baptisms, and that's what you want. You want new converts. You want God to do something with those people getting saved. 2, you can go to a local park. Look for a local park, and I don't know what your context is. You may have a skate park that's popping. You may have a basketball. You may have a pickleball court that's popping. Dog, I don't know. You may have something that's going on outside, or even like a little gaming. There's EA game things now that you can look up. That kids are gaming. And kids are there. Esports. Man.
If it's no school too, all day.
Oh, if it's no school, dog, they in there. Mom dog gave them V-Bucks on V-Bucks, and they in there just, hey, man, go in there.
They are in there.
Get an account, and you go in there. Go there. Those two things that you can practically do. Look for what's pop. Go drive around and pray. Preferably drive around and keep your eyes open. 3, there may be an apartment complex next to you. Apartment complexes are the new houses. Because we've been landlocked in this country, and they're not necessarily building new subdivisions, they're building new apartment complex, and the apartment complex will be the new house. That's a whole nother argument. But find a local apartment complex and figure out where kids are playing. See what's going on. Watch them even after school. I will pop up after school, 3, 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and watch. See if there's a school bus dropping off a busload of kids. Then you go right there. Go do something. Even if your budget is $50, and I'll buy your hot dogs. Call me. Holla at me. It's not an excuse. Knock it off. Be encouraged. Let God use you. Let God use what you have. God used a stick in the hand of Moses. But buy a pack of hot dogs and just cook hot dogs for him and just go play ball.
Just cooking hot dogs.
Basketball costs $5, dog.
That's
Come on.
it. Go to Five Below.
Come on. Go to Five Below and go play ball with these kids. Man, get out there. Don't be stagnant. Do not let the cool gift that God has given you be the thing that hinders you from sending you out. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't let the cool thing that God is using in you be the thing that's making the church and youth group stagnant. Don't be your own hindrance in your own ministry.
Well, look, he done gave y'all about 3 or 4. You can find a school, local park, wherever you want, e-gaming. Kids are everywhere.
They out there.
And if you're close to a mall, go one Saturday and just, man, and take somebody with you. Take somebody with you. I don't want you to look like a creep out there, but just take somebody with you.
You're driving up in that white van, dog.
Right.
Driving up in the youth
van.
Like,
hey, man, you go to church? But it really, like, you can strike up any conversation. They can be shoes, you're in the mall, look at your context, look at your surroundings.
Yeah, be goofy, man. And figure out what these kids into. Figure out what the context is. If they like gaming, show up as a PlayStation controller. I don't know, man. Be willing to do it, man. Pastor Juan would show it. He would do we would eat cockroaches. That's a whole nother story. We would eat cockroaches outside the school. Yes. Madagascar cockroaches to draw the crowd outside after the school before they would get in the bus. And then we had students saved from that. Yeah, that's a whole Herbert look great. I lost Herb right there. We out there eating because they want to see something. You can listen. It was in Philadelphia. It was a dude that posted on Pose. Listen to me how goofy this is, bro. He posted on Pose that he was gonna eat a rotisserie chicken at 4:00 in the park. Just posted it randomly. He posted that he was gonna eat a whole rotisserie chicken at 4 p.m. Do you know that about 250 people showed up just to watch this man eat a whole rotisserie chicken? Dog, God can use anything.
Wow.
They just wanted to see this man eat a rotisserie chicken. 250 people showed up.
I want to see this man eat chicken.
It went viral. Viral. Just, bro, go out there and be goofy, man. Be goofy, man. Be a fool for Christ, dude. That's what Paul said.
Right. And even if you can't play basketball, just go play basketball. Nobody cares about your skills.
They gonna remember that.
That's not the goal.
They gonna remember you may suck, but they gonna remember that. They gonna be like, man, even if I don't know what you may be white in a black context, you may be black in a white context. Dog, it don't matter. They gonna remember that, bro. Come on. Don't stop letting the enemy stop you. Stop. Get those things out your head. Stop letting race stop you. Stop letting the budget stop you. Stop letting your context and your culture and your story. Don't stop. Stop letting these things hinder what God can.
Right. Because, hold on. Yeah. Think your wife she on the call real quick. Technical difficulties at the moment. There you go. I think you got it. But yeah, don't let anything hinder you from doing any sort of outreach because God can use anything, man. Let's see, you got it? Yeah.
I hear you. You lost me, huh?
Yeah, I got you because then I picked up your wife conversation. I'm like, whoa, wait, let's get that. Let's get that.
Yeah.
But no, man, appreciate you definitely coming on, man. Listen, y'all. Please subscribe to Keys to Student Ministry Podcast. This is not just an area to where you can get cool tips, and you can.
Yes.
But we want to encourage you. We want to have you strive in your youth ministry in this. I think the realest thing tonight is just don't hinder yourself. Don't hinder yourself. Don't say God can't use this. I can't do that. This context is wrong. My pastor don't like. Don't let any of that stuff stop you, man. God can use anything. The free thing, the budget thing, a busted car, nice car, whatever you have. And so, I mean, just Moses, what do you have in your hand?
Lift it up. Lift it up. Lift it up to him.
Lift it up.
Lift it up to him.
I'll do it. Let's use this ride. Let's use this truck. Hey, we got a budget for a couple of hamburgers. Let's go to the park or see some kids in McDonald's. Hey, I got your meal. What you need?
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? What's your name? Do you go to church? My name is Pastor So-and-so, or my name is Jeff if you don't use the pastor title. Hey, man.
Get out there.
You want to come check us out. Hey, man, listen, man, the Lord loves you. He has plans for you.
Skateboard. Go get those skateboarders.
Go get them skateboarders. You know
those kids need new grip tape on them skateboards. Go help them. Go repair it. Look it up on YouTube. They don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
They go into the repair shop and paying all types of money that they don't borrow from their mama, and their mama told them, all right, I'm done. I'm not paying for these skateboards no more. I know how much they cost, and so we bought we bought a repair kit for bicycles, and I actually got the kids like, yo, y'all repairing, and mostly that for bikes and for skateboards, it's very cheap fix. You can get a repair kit. It's just an inner tube hole, like in their flat tires, just an inner tube hole, less than $5, and you can buy a large pack quantity. Amazon for the win, Amazon for the W.
You said large pack?
Large quantity. Go out there and fix those kids' bikes. There is no excuse. You can call me. I love you. I'll help you. I'm for you. I love this podcast. I wish I had this podcast when I was a youth pastor.
Wow.
I wish. I really did. I really did. I really wish I had this resource for a podcast, man. So please follow along, share this with another fellow youth pastor. And doesn't matter what his context is, suburban or urban or rural. We are for the youth pastor. Youth pastors for youth pastors.
Yeah, absolutely. And you heard every single context. We done went through it from the hood to the burbs to the rural area. There's no excuse, y'all.
Go get them.
Listen to it, use it, and let's just say your pastor doesn't believe in youth ministry. Maybe you just set aside to just watch the kids. Doesn't matter. You have them in your company. And once your pastor start to see things flourish, grow,
that's right.
There's fruit, kids coming to church, kids bringing their parents. That's another thing. That's a whole nother episode.
That's all.
So where students now start bringing their parents because their parents want to know what the heck is going on here because he's different there or she's different there. So let me go check out this church and bang.
People are drawn to transformation.
Absolutely.
People are drawn to transformation. That's just a rule of thumb with humans.
Yeah.
They're drawn to change. And that they start seeing kids are changed and fired up, and they see that kid that's back there, or the girl that's cutting herself, or the kid that was back there not talking to nobody and starting trouble, and they start seeing that kid worshiping, and they start seeing that kid wanting to come to church, and they start seeing that kid serving and popping up chairs, and they're like, hold on, what's going on? What you done did to this? I'm telling you, transformation. God knew what he was doing when he said, you must be renewed. It's the renewing of life. You are a new creation in Christ. He knew what he was doing when he died and resurrected. He knew what he was doing. It's contagious. It's contagious. Believe in it.
Listen, y'all, we can go a whole nother 20, 30 more minutes. Not gonna do that. Let's put this into play. Put this into practice. Your first tip, just find a local park, find a school, find a skate park, go to Starbucks. After school, the kids go right to Starbucks and go get them a gift card, buy the coffee, whatever you have to do. The mission. The mission is we're going to make disciples. That's right. The mission. It ain't about the gift card. It ain't about McDonald's. It ain't about none of that. We're in the Souls of the Kingdom. Yo, this Jonathan Slade, y'all, right here, man. This as you can hear, man, this guy's, man, on fire for the Lord, and appreciate you, man. So sad I didn't run into you at SUM. But I'm so glad I wasn't at that building. But it's all good. Yeah, appreciate it.
You're my bro.
Y'all. Again, go ahead and subscribe. Hit them notifications, man. Appreciate y'all. And we out.
Peace.